Welcome to the Diamond Manor channel. If you're new to me, thanks very much for watching, and if you like what you see, why not consider subscribing? Okay, so part 3 of the leaf ring. We did some leaves, then we did the band, and then now number 3 we're doing some more leaves because I've learned to do some more, and also having the band that I'm going to put the leaves on in my hand, I now know what kind of design to go towards with the leaves, because you can't have big chunky cartoony leaves on a realistic branched looking ring. Doesn't really make sense. So my leaves are going to be much smaller than I made before, and a bit more real is going to suit this. So for my leaves I have got a little bit of sheet metal 0.7, 0.8. Why is that different? Okay, between 0.7 and 0.8 is what I'm cutting my leaves out of. I'm just going to cut a corner off. Got that kind of shape now. Put that curve on, and now I'm going to cut along there so I get a leaf shape out of it. I'm not too worried about exactly the shape. Okay, in the other video, something I thought of when I was halfway through it was soldering your leaf, because it's quite a small thing, it's difficult to work on. Soldering a bit of wire on one end, and I was doing that last time I was trying these, and it was really helpful, so I recommend you do that. So I'm just going to file my saw marks off of them. I should have made these a bit bigger, it would have been easier for the video. Anneal them and get them nice and soft. I know it's only bits of silver, but it's just better when the metal is soft. The first style leaf I'm going to show you is what I call the Native American leaf. It's just like the way they do their flowers. Sorry, not flowers, feathers. It's the way they do their feathers, the silver feathers design. Our leaf is going to look like that. So to make that much easier for yourself, we're going to put a little bit of wire on the leaf to hold on to it. So a little bit of wire, file it flat in the end, and put it in tweezers, plonk it in the peg, ready. Flux it, cut off a little square of silver solder, and then plonk it on there, and then get it soldered. Try to melt it kind of slowly, because you want it just to blob up on the top and not go all the way down the sides. So that's not much use. Okay, now what I do is I put a flap on the end of one of my leaves. Now I'll hold the leaf in there. Wire in the tweezers. Fluxy, fluxy. There you go. Just touch them together as it melts. Now with that in the wire, much easier to hold on to and work on. Having a weird focus and lighting day today. Alright, so now I'm just going to hammer down the edges, like imagine a line down the centre. Just going to hammer either side of that line. Just starts off a bit of a leafy shape. And spreads it out quite nicely as well. Okay, that'll do. So now I've got my leaf cleaned up. I'm just going to start putting those lines in it. And then obviously not go straight out, try and get them all kind of going from the centre upwards, outwards to the edge. And for this I've got like a kind of setting tool in there, like a little sharp disc. Any edge, even the top edge of a cylinder phrase I reckon could do it. Now you got to try and get that same effect, but you're going from the outer edge going in if you hold it like that, unless you can hold it quite cleverly and then hit it like that. It might be safer to do it that way. And without being careful at all, that's what I got. And because I've got that kind of angle, this side, that side, that's what kind of gave me the line down the centre. I think it's nice if you don't go over the top with that centre line. But if I can reach my foot pedal from here, this will probably ruin it now. What do you reckon? I think it's a bit too severe. And then, yeah, that's horrible. That's like, it's really deeper, a lot deeper than the outer ones. Just keep going. Okay, getting silly now. But yeah, you can just keep playing with it with the severity of your effect. And this leaf's looking a bit kind of straight. Let me bend it about a bit. Bend it down, then bend it up towards the end. There you go, leaf number 1. Leaf number 2. Just like in the first part of the video, I was using this to give them a bit of initial shape. So we find one of these to bang in there. That's what we do. Better. Down like that and just pulling the points back up. I'll hit it again, but this time on the wood. So now I'm going to cut that first leaf off my bit of wire and then use it again to put this leaf on. Can you see that? It should have a crinkled up leaf. All those little dips and curves and shapes you've got now, I'm going to emphasise them with any kind of grinding tool, like ball frays, cylinder frays, even like your needle files. Little half-round needle file will do a good job. I'm just going to use this cutting disc because I like using them. So yeah, I'm just taking off the corners of the edge, and then where they dip down, I'm really emphasising that dip, just to give it a bit more three-dimensional kind of flow. Right, now it needs something else. It needs that kind of line down the middle, but cutting a line into it is going to be too severe for this one. So I just want a kind of gentle dip. And the way I'm going to do that is with a tool that is packed far away at the back of my bench. Where is it? Oh, yeah. This was like one of those cheap diamond burrs. Yeah, this one had like a little disc and the cutting surface is right on the end, and you can see I've ground it away for I can't remember why exactly, but it was for a particular job. I needed to get it under a little edge and then clean it all out. So I'm going to use that little disc to kind of just hold at a slight angle and just take away some of the meat down the centre. Just holding it, not going straight down, but just using the edge of it to just draw a line down the middle. This is leaf number 2. Just a bit more shapely. Took a groove out the centre, essentially it. I was just wondering what it would look like with a few lines on it. Let's do a little experiment, shall we? What do you think? I've knocked up 5 leaves quickly. I made them a bit more sort of wide rather than long like those other ones I cut out. So I just felt like that would be nicer for the ring design. Yeah, just hammered them about a bit with the ball banger, and yeah, put a few lines on delicately. There's still more chance to work on them once they're on the ring, but I think they're going to look quite good. So let's now decide exactly where we're going to put them. Now this ring, looking at it from this side, is like a branch going up, but then if you turn it around, it's also like a branch going up, and they meet in the middle. So that gives us a kind of option of having leaves going this way and then leaves going that way. So it's like two branches meeting in the middle. But I don't really want to do that. I think it's going to mean adding lots of leaves, and it might overcomplicate the design a little bit. I do prefer things being a bit more simple and elegant, but you know, do what you want. If you're looking at yours and you think that's good, by all means go ahead and do that. But I'm just going to start holding leaves in tweezers and just holding it over the top, and then seeing how I feel, where I think they look nice. And I want it to look kind of natural and elegant, sort of effortless, if that makes sense. So I'll just do that by experimenting first of all, by holding it in different positions. Just one little nugget of advice when you're shaping up your leaves. Obviously you want it to flow and be a three-dimensional thing. So you've got curves going that way, going down to the center, and then a kind of up and down going along the length of the leaf. My little nugget of advice is the point of the leaf goes down, because you know, if someone's wearing it, if you've got these little points sticking up, it's going to be catchy. It's going to catch on clothes and pull threads out of people's jumpers and stuff, and might be a bit scratchy. So bear that in mind. I curve it down, up, and then down again at the end, and that's a nice kind of like wave motion going from the back to the front. So yeah, certainly have your point always going down. Right, so look at your ring. If, like me, you've decided to have leaves going just one way, choose one side and the other. I think this side's much nicer than that side, so I'm going to have my leaves going up from this side. So you can just position it on, seeing where you think where they go, where it looks quite nice, quite like that. Bear in mind the strength, and don't want leaves really sticking out the sides too much. You can have it coming off a branch, and if the leaf's touching another branch, that's another opportunity to solder it down in two spots, so it'll be nice and strong. Yeah, I think I'm going to have one there first of all, and then because I've got a kind of, where that goes in there, there's like a bit of a space there. I'm looking at the spaces, not just the metal, so I can fill that space in a little bit with a leaf, and that'll be nice. I'm going to focus. Right, okay, got my ring in the tweezers stuck in the slot of my bench peg, got the leaf in another pair of tweezers, sorry about the focusing. Yeah, I'm going to touch a little bit of solder on the edge of that leaf, and then I'm going to just get it all hot and touch it on exactly where I want it to sit. If you're going to do it like this, I would recommend having a trial run first, making sure everything's at the right angle in your tweezers and in the tweezers there in the peg, and make sure your hand is comfortable as you're doing it. You don't want to be getting all awkward when you're trying to position it really accurately. So I just sort of always practice first, just make sure I can get it in the right position comfortably before I light the blowtorch. Just having a little look now that one's on. So I've got one on that branch going there, and then I think if I put it that way, it's at a different angle to that one, but it's flowing quite nicely. Then I can touch it, solder it there and there, so that'll be nice and strong. Something like that. And when you're positioning your leaves, don't just look where the leaves and the branches are, have a look at the gaps around them, because you're drawing shapes with the gaps. You get all these weird triangles and stuff amongst all the branches, so make sure they look kind of nice as well, where possible. There you go. When you're doing delicate solders like that, always be really quick to get the heat off, because as soon as it melts, get the heat off it. You don't need to keep heating it more and making solder flood all over the place. As soon as it's gone where you want it to, get the heat off. Leaf number 3, choosing a space. You don't want them all bunched up. You don't really want two looking too parallel, sort of complementary angles, nicely spaced out. Kind of got to go there already, innit? Somewhere. not level. In the middle is a bit too bunched up. Come down a bit. Can lay it on top. Don't know. That way. No, it's got to go here. Or shall I do it on both sides? Might have to. Or just a third one up here. Not immediately obvious where I'm going to put these. Okay, I'm going to put one there. Leave myself a little triangle gap there, and then touch in that side. Basically filling up this space. Alright, so I've put 3 leaves on, and I cannot decide on a position for a 4th one, or even a 5th one. I made 5 I thought I was going to put on. And I know from previous experience, I may have just like, well, I've made them, so I've got to put one on. And you have this kind of attitude, like you've got to use what you've got. But you haven't, so I'm just going to leave that like that for now. And then maybe I'll look at it tomorrow and think, yeah, well, I'll just do that. Push a leaf over, tweak it a little bit, and then there's a space one. Like, I do think it needs something there. But then I might end up just squashing that flat and adjusting the gaps rather than adding a leaf. Just at the moment, I think I've looked at it too much today, so I can't really figure out the best way to move forward. So now I'm leaving it like that. And you could call that finished. I just think that the width there isn't really complementing the rest of it. I kind of like where the leaves are, but then there's this sort of wide gap bit there, which I'm not really sure about. And the answer is not immediately clear to me now, so I'm just going to leave it alone for the rest of the day, and then see how I feel tomorrow about it. Just give it a squeeze. So my advice, if you're making a leaf, is get the leaves all looking the same, kind of going in the same direction, not catchy. Give the ring a bit of fluidity and motion, so they're not just all flat, dead, going across the ring. Like, you can tilt them over a little bit, and up, down, just subtle differences as they move along. And it gives it a kind of feeling of movement, makes it more alive. Yeah, not too catchy. Obviously, think about not just the design, or think ahead a little bit. It's got to be strong, it's got to be wearable in the positions you put them. So you can take advantage of laying leaves on top of each other or across branches, and then you've got 2 solder points. Soldering from the back is beneficial because you're less likely to get solder going over the top of the leaf. It'll ruin your design, your little lines you put in there if you've done that. This is just raw silver now. I can experiment more with staining stuff. I can gently wipe that on. And it just goes on forever. It's just, you look at it and you get a feeling for it. But I know from previous experience, if I move forward today, I'm just going to start doing things I regret after. So for today, this is finished. So that was the leaf ring, part 1, 2 and 3. I hope you found the information useful. Give you some ideas. I'll show you how I did it. I learnt a lot mucking about with silver doing this. It was quite enjoyable. I hope it was for you too. So if you haven't already, please click like and subscribe, the notification bell to be notified of future uploads, of which there will be plenty. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.